John Cena has broken the hearts of millions of fans across the world. In case you've been sleeping under a rock, John Cena has turned heel. That was the biggest thing coming out of Elimination Chamber, in which he aligned with The Rock and attacked Cody Rhodes. I'm not kidding you. There are TikToks out there of little kids freaking out and crying because poor Cody Rhodes got busted open by John Cena. On top of that, not only did we get that whole big debacle, but we also got the Jade Cargill return and attack on Naomi. Randy Orton return in the match with Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens that a lot of people are considering match of the year, match of the night, match of the month, whatever you want to consider it. And then also we had Bianca Belair win the Elimination Chamber. I mean, there is a lot that went down on this Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. PLE, excuse me. And a lot of people are also calling this the best Elimination Chamber PLE of all time. So I wanted to go ahead and get people's reactions, hot takes, opinions on the Chamber PLE, and we are going to go ahead and take a look at some of those. Now, thank you so much to everybody who sent those in over on the YouTube community tab. I selected a few, and we are going to go ahead and see what you guys are saying and kind of share some thoughts as to whether or not I agree or disagree with some of your takes. On top of that, if you would like my full review, it is up right now on the channel. So let's get to it. Let's see what you, the people, had to say about this. All right, we're going to go ahead and go in no particular order. I kind of just screenshotted a bunch of these and threw them in there. So let's get to it. We got our first one here. This is from Enzio, who says, sorry, but how good the heel turn was, it certainly doesn't justify the shoddy way we got to it. The Rock's promos were nonsensical. The tag match was filler. Sick for Trish, but still filler. The men's chamber was a glorified triple threat, and the women's chamber story just didn't click with me. If y'all got something out of it, I'm happy for you, but my read on Elimination Chamber is a 3 out of 5 stars. Okay, so wow, that's probably our most I think for the most part, fans are, I'm constantly looking on social media. I read the YouTube comments. I see what you guys tweet me, Facebook me, Instagram me, all of that stuff. I'm very, very online. And real talk, I feel like mostly everybody really enjoyed this Elimination Chamber PLE. And it's kind of hard because for the most part, I feel like every PLE, people come out of it with different opinions, right? And sometimes people just don't like certain shows. Sometimes people feel like things could have been done differently. And sometimes certain things aren't for everybody. However, I feel like for the most part, almost every PLE, you either have people like completely disagreeing or completely agreeing. And I feel like it's safe to say that the majority of people enjoyed the Elimination Chamber PLE based off the comments that I've been seeing and just even conversations that I've had with other fans. And so this one here is a little bit more on the didn't like it side. But here's the thing. Do you have any actual good reasoning? So let's break this down here. The Rock's promo is nonsensical. The Rock has definitely gotten a lot of criticism from some fans in regards to the way things have been presented. I myself was sitting here on that Friday SmackDown going, what the F is The Rock talking about here? Wanting Cody Rhodes' soul. This is so silly. If any person was going to be taking someone's soul, I'm like, run. This is so silly. This is so stupid. We got to go. Like, do not do this. Like, run. What are you doing, Cody? Why are you just standing there? It was really creepy the way that he was touching him. So I do get like that aspect of it. The tag match, of course, with Tiffany Stratton and Trish Stratus and Nia Jackson, Candice LeRae, obviously wasn't the biggest thing on the show. But look, it wasn't so bad, or it wasn't, bad enough for us to say that it took away from the show. I can honestly say it didn't take away anything from the show for me. And the big thing that I did like from this, though, is obviously Tiffany Stratton get the win. The only criticism I have of this, and to be honest, it's not even a real big criticism because I get why they did the tag team match because of Trish Stratus and to give her like a moment, and she looks so good, right, and being in Toronto and all of that. My only criticism, if it's even a criticism, is I just want to see more of Tiffany Stratton successfully defending her title in one-on-one matches, considering that she is heading into WrestleMania against one of the toughest opponents in Charlotte Flair. And that's probably my only criticism on that. And then the men's chamber match, I thought it was really fun, especially once John Cena came in. I think that the women's elimination chamber, top to bottom, was probably more entertaining. But for the men's chamber, I think it got entertaining once John Cena got in there, and then everything after that, because I was really like nervous, especially when we were down to the final three, because I really didn't know what we were doing. And Seth Rollins legitimately stomping CM Punk got a big rise out of me, because part of me kind of wanted to see CM Punk win. I mean, he was my prediction. And so I was so mad at Seth Rollins for like doing that. And it really, really got a rise out of me. And I cannot lie and sit here and say that the last few minutes of that men's elimination chamber did not completely have me, because it did. So that's kind of how I felt about that. I do think that for the most part, this was, I should rephrase that. I do think this was a fun PLE. All right, next up, we got For the Love of Wrestling here, who says, is there time for a Cena redemption arc before he's done in December? So it's funny that you asked that, because let's be real. We know that when it comes down to John Cena's last match in the WWE, he's not going to be a heel. This is not something that I think is going to go a very long time. He's going to be heel for maybe a couple of months, but then we got to get into that redemption arc, like For the Love of Wrestling says. And because we are not going to end John Cena's career on him being a heel in his last match. If they did do that, I would be completely shocked, because the way that it's supposed to be at the end is everybody is going to obviously, clap and cheer. There may be some people crying in the audience. Like, I'm pretty sure there will be, because this is a very popular person. I can't imagine that people wouldn't be crying for him, like, retiring and calling it a day in his in-ring career. I mean, so many of us grew up with John Cena. I grew up with John Cena. I wasn't a John Cena fan, though, as a kid. I was anti-John Cena. And the reason I was anti-John Cena, well, because I remember, like, I was very, very young, right? Very impressionable. And I would see the things that people were saying. And I always wanted to be cool, right? I wanted to be cool. And I remember people would say, oh, yeah, only women and children cheer for John Cena. And as a kid, I remember thinking, I don't want to be associated with that. I don't want to be cheering for people just because I'm a children. I want to do something different. And so I wanted to be, like a smart wrestling fan. Don't laugh at me. This is so embarrassing. Can't even believe I'm admitting this on the air. And so I would boo John Cena. And like, John Cena was just not the person that I, as a kid, considered cool. So I was that person that didn't appreciate John Cena until years after. But me, like, I was always a CM Punk fan. I was a Chris Jericho fan. I just tended to gravitate towards other people, right? Anyways, with all of that being said, I do think we are going to have plenty of time for that redemption arc. I think that right now WWE does take a lot of time telling certain storylines where they really, really stretch things out. But since they know they're on a time crunch, I think we're going to get things going a little bit faster. So I wouldn't be surprised if by the time we get to SummerSlam, we're beginning to wrap up that John Cena heel turn, but that's just my assumption. All right, we got King Chrysler here, who says, I was more shocked at the uncensored F-bomb from Cody than Cena's heel turn. Both were incredible, and I've rewatched the segment numerous times. I was so happy when Cody Rhodes told The Rock to go F himself. I was so freaking thrilled, because that was the number one thing that I kept saying that Cody Rhodes needed to do, because what the hell, man? This man was caressing his face. And then when he did it a second time, I was like, really, Cody? I could probably let you slide for the first time and even just a little bit. But the second time around, bro, do not. And so when he finally said, go F yourself to The Rock, that was exactly what he needed to say. And so I love that. And I think you needed that big moment, because that was him standing up for himself. And, his fans were like, yeah, Cody has a backbone. Woo. But then him getting the attack afterwards, like, that set up the attack even more. So I thought it was so great. The way they executed it was really, really well done. All right, we got Seb Mini here, who says, Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens is match of the year so far. I thought this match was better than the amazing Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens ladder match at the Rumble. I enjoyed this match more than any PLE match so far this year. Every time Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens are having a match, it's a classic, and tonight was no exception. I cannot argue with you whatsoever here. I did think they absolutely killed it. Sami Zayn did say that this was going to be their their Canadian WrestleMania, and they performed as such. We got Woohoo Oh is the Woho, so is out of control 6969, who says all these turns on Cody, first by KO and then by Cena, is slowly setting up a heel Cody arc where he realizes that everything in WWE is about the title and friendships are a farce. If a guy like John Cena can join the dark side to become a champion, then no one is safe. Buddy, no one has been safe from turning heel for like all of wrestling history. Every single big giant babyface at some point has turned heel. So is Cody going to turn heel at some point? Will it happen this year? I don't know when it's going to happen, but buddy, it's going to happen, man. I mean, the second we saw Hulk Hogan turn heel, that's it, bro. Anybody can turn heel. Freaking Santa Claus can turn heel. The Easter Bunny. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to think of someone who's like really jolly. And that was the first person that came to my mind. Wow. Anyways, so yes, no one is safe. I agree with that. We got Remnant 13 here who says Jade's return was a mastercraft of violence, but Travis Scott needs to stay off my TV. What he did at the end of his stage completely killed the entire show for me. I know I'm in the minority, but keep that crap off my TV. I actually don't think you're in the minority. I think a lot of people that I've seen so far were like, why was Travis Scott there? Why was Travis Scott there? It's so funny because I know a lot of people are bringing it up and I really don't have like a real answer for you. But truthfully, the only reason it didn't matter to me was because he was almost sort of invisible in that moment. I was so enthralled by what we were seeing with Cody, Rock, and Cena that I forgot Travis Scott was even there. I legitimately forgot. Now, of course, Travis Scott is a very popular mainstream name. We know that he has a big fan base. I'm not one of them, but I know he has a big fan base. And so on the bright side, it does kind of add a little bit more eyeballs and a little bit more conversation to that because, again, he does have a pretty strong fan base. So that is definitely something. Like we're not going to be seeing more of Travis Scott on our TVs based off of what Triple H has said in multiple press conferences now. He seems to regard Travis Scott pretty highly in terms of the viewership that he can or the attention that he can bring, like from social media posts and whatnot. I'm actually going to check right now. I've never checked his account, but I'm going to check it right now. Travis Scott. Let's see what he has here. He has 58.8 million followers on Instagram. He posted the heel turn on his account on Instagram, and it got 1.4 million views, 6,900 comments, and 63,000 shares. So that's definitely, obviously something that WWE is going to love about Travis is that he does promote them and obviously does get numbers. And that's just his Instagram. I'm not even checking, all his other stuff, but there you guys have it. So if he keeps getting numbers like that, they're still going to keep, and also mainstream attention, they're still going to keep that going. All right, we got Andy Q524 here who says, I'm still very torn on the Cena heel turn. It's absolutely the best storyline they could have had heading into Mania. This is absolutely the right call for John Cena, the wrestling character. However, John Cena, the man that did so much good building up with good kids, goodwill with kids, especially Make-A-Wish kids, that it makes me kind of pause thinking how upset dying kids might be because of this. Then again, it's been so long since Cena has been an active competitor that most kids now probably don't really know or care about him that much. So now is probably the best time to do it if they're going to do it. I've talked myself in and out of being a good idea several times. One thing is for sure, I got to scrape together $15 to get Netflix the next 2 months. I think that as kids, we all, I grew up a wrestling fan. I'm sure a lot of you guys did here too. And we all had moments where our favorites did something, especially if you were a gullible child like myself. I believed everything. Like I believed in baby faces and heels, and I thought everything was real. And I was very, very, and thankfully, social media wasn't a big thing back then. So I didn't have, Instagram or Twitter or anything like that to sort of break this illusion that I had built, this fantasy bubble that I lived in. But whenever I did see like things that would completely shock me, I remember crying over things I saw in wrestling. I remember going to sleep and being like, oh my God, I cannot believe this happened. And going to bed, like really thinking about this, like this was something real, right? What a goofball. But, that is a real true thing. I think now it is so hard. I don't know how I would be if I would be a wrestling fan if I grew up seeing the storylines and then also knowing that it wasn't real, right? Like the kayfabe thing. I think that the kayfabe stuff really kept me, engaged as a kid and really buying into it because I thought it was real. As I grew up and got smartened up, I remember kind of being like disappointed when I found out that it wasn't. And it really, really sucked to see that. But I was able to separate those two things and be able to still enjoy it while also understanding that these are people, playing roles, playing characters and things like that. So I don't know how this affects people, especially at a younger age, but it is a tough one though. I think that the kayfabe argument and, breaking the fourth wall is a real interesting one, which I'll probably talk about in a different video. So thank you. You just gave me another video idea. We got Brandon Cavallaro, 26, who says, what the F was Travis doing there? He kind of ruined the moment. So we got another person not happy about Travis. But again, like I said, he was sort of invisible to me during that moment. So thankfully, I was able to just sort of not really pay attention to him. But of course, this depends on everybody else. Irish Insight here says, I'm really into the story, but I hope a couple of loose ends get cleared up. 1, when did Rock and Cena come up with this plan? And 2, what did Rock give Cody on the Raw after Mania last year? I'm a bit concerned these won't get addressed as the final boss character can be a bit scatterbrained with his promos, talking a lot while saying little. I do 100% agree with you on this in the sense that I do want these things to also be answered, so I don't think you're far off. I do agree. I want to know what John Cena's, I want to know what his explanation is. Like, why? Why are you aligning yourself with The Rock so right now in your career? Why? So yes, I agree with that. And I also feel like that big moment when The Rock handed that thing to Cody Rhodes, I mean, we were talking about it for days. It's been almost over a year and we are still talking about, it's almost going to be a year, excuse me. And we are still talking about it. I feel like little things like that should not be loose ends. I think they should answer that kind of stuff. I think they should. So I 100% agree with you on that. We got Abdullah 22004 who says Triple H deserves a universal sorry by the IWC. Yes, some of his stories were a little stale at times, but not every week can be Mania worthy. He also explained how difficult it was to book the Jade Cargill storyline because of her injury, and fans kept bashing him about it. Look, Abdullah, at the end of the day, you cannot please everybody. And while Triple H did do a lot of things right, there are going to be some things that, he does just get some critique over and might even be rightfully so. And when you are in a position of being in a creative position, that's what's going to come with the territory. And now, from my understanding, Triple H is somebody that is very, very online. Like he sees what the fans are saying on social media. So in a way, it kind of helps though that people are going out there and saying the things that they're saying, because then Triple H is seeing that and going, okay, we need to revamp certain things, or we need to maybe work a little harder on this story, because he even mentioned that in the presser. He had said, now all of a sudden the road to WrestleMania is a lot hotter. And that was the conversation that I was having with people on my podcast, that I saw people on social media having on social media. And so I'm sure Triple H saw the social media conversations about that and thought, all right, suckers, let's go. I'm going to prove to you guys. And so in a way, it's like a give and take, right? It is what it is. You're not going to please everybody, and you're going to get critiqued when you are in a high position like that. And in a way, it could be a good thing. I know sometimes it feels like a bad thing because having critique and criticism does suck, but if you use it in a way to help out your storylines, it might actually be a good thing. So it depends on, of course, what kind of critique and what kind of criticism and what people's reasonings are for that. We got Alonzo R here who says Elimination Chamber was a damn good show. Jade came back and stood on business. Bianca is going to Mania against Rhea. Shout out to Io. KO versus Sami was great. We're getting Cody versus Cena, which is the match I wanted. Heel Cena is going to be amazing. The Rock has done it again. Just be patient. The final boss always comes through in clutch. I'm here for it. Look, at the end of the day, The Rock is going to draw numbers. He's The Rock, and that's just plain point blank. I can't argue that. WWE 2K24 Universe Mode says, hey, Denise, are you intrigued about the Naomi, Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair situation? Do you sense a heel turn coming from Bianca when she loses her streak and title opportunity at WrestleMania due to being distracted by the Naomi, Jade Cargill saga? I am definitely intrigued by this. I had been anticipating for Naomi's heel turn for several weeks, ever since this whole thing happened. I was on the Naomi did it train for a very, very long time. And I do think that Bianca Belair will turn heel somewhere down the line. We're talking about, people not being longtime baby faces not being saved from turning heel. At some point, it's going to happen. She mentioned in a media call that she did for Elimination Chamber that when it happens, it's going to be something big. So I think the idea is already in her head, and she's probably already visualizing what kind of heel she's going to be. We got BR Jero here who says Cena was the only logical choice to be Rock's corporate champion. Who is more of a company guy than John Cena? Honestly, the most company guy besides John Cena is Cody Rhodes. But yes, John Cena has been known to always be a company man. Like, you've never really heard him say like anything bad about WWE that I can imagine. I mean, even when it came to the Vince McMahon stuff, like, he still remained pretty neutral to Vince and whatnot, and that's a whole different conversation and all, but he is very, very loyal to the company, that's for sure. We got King Ash 9831 here who says John Cena turning heel not only changed WrestleMania plans, but the entirety of 2025. Think about it. Every babyface who turned heel, such as Daniel Bryan, Hulk Hogan, Jeff Hardy, and all those other wrestlers turned heel because they did everything for the fans, but they got sick and tired of pleasing them, tired of playing friendly, and all goody-goody. With Cena's heel turn, the promos will be fire. Can you imagine a heel John Cena against a babyface Randy Orton? That would be crazy. Even with Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and many others, will be a great feud for heel John Cena. It's a good way to tell certain stories in a different format, in a different way than we've seen them before. So yes, keeping things fresh. Good point, King Ash. We got Mr. Acosta here who says, this ECW. He says this Elimination Chamber was a top 5 Triple H era PLE. Jade's return, Randy return, classic KO, Sami, Cena heel turn. He said this would be industry changing, and he wasn't lying. I agree, Mr. Acosta. We got Charles here, Charles Credle, who says, I'm not happy with the idea of Cena turning heel. I always picture and like him as a babyface because of what he does outside of the ring, especially working with Make-A-Wish Foundation. But if this is how Cena wants to end his career, then that's his choice. And like I said earlier, the very, very end of John Cena in his last match, he's going to be a babyface. We got Mick Economics here who says, moving forward, I think we need to see an animated version of Sold Out Cena. When he turned heel, his face and demeanor went blank as though he had no soul or adrenaline, but he's still a real person, a movie star, and rich. Don't overplay the literal no so angle. Yeah, it's so funny because, like, for the most part, if you guys have seen a lot of John Cena's like roles in movies, he tends to play somewhat of the same character, which is like this funny goofball type of guy. At least all the movies I've seen him in, he's kind of the same character. He's always like the funny, like, ha 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 guy. And yeah, this is going to be totally different. And we have seen shades of this before. Like, John Cena can get very, very serious. Like, I've seen him get like deadpan serious in press conferences. Even when I've seen him get interviewed, like, he's always very, very serious. So John Cena does have, different layers to him. He's like an onion. Shout out to Shrek fans. All right, we got Muhammad Mirza 5645 here who says Jade Cargill coming after Naomi was unexpected, but leaves us to think we're going what's going to happen next. I don't know about you, but The Rock is the final boss for sure. Never knew John Cena ever going to be healed, but it was different, and his press conference too has said it all. So the Jade Cargill coming after Naomi was not unexpected. All of the signs were there. If you listen to my Friday night SmackDown podcast, I talked about it every single week. On Busted Open, I talked about it every single week. All of the signs pointed to Naomi. I am still shocked that people did not see this coming. Like, what? It was Naomi all along. So I do not think that this was unexpected at all. It was very, very obvious to me, and the reason being multiple reasons. One, she was part of this like trios thing. Like, her, Bianca, and Jade were at WrestleMania, at Bad Blood, doing their thing. But at the end of the day, Naomi kept getting pushed aside. And the two main acts and the two main focuses were always Jade and Bianca. So you were going to see that as a reason to like get upset. On top of that, there was little moments in terms of promos and whatnot, things that Bianca said and things that Naomi said. Like, Bianca kind of automatically assumed that Naomi wasn't an option. She would send Naomi out to try to find clues. Naomi never came back with anything. Naomi was so nice, and I'm putting air quotations on there. She was so nice in offering herself to fill in for Jade Cargill, and then even overcompensating and saying, I'm not going to wear the championship until I get a victory. Guys, all of the red flags are there. All of them. Okay? All of them. And I kept calling it out. All right, we got Richard JN8CG who says, after the Chamber, I'm kind of curious to see where Punk, Reigns, and Rollins fit in for WrestleMania. Honestly, hoping it isn't Punk versus Paul. Is there a world where Punk's favor from Heyman gets him into Rhodes Cena's match, making triple threat that Reigns subsequently interferes in, handing match to Rhodes and setting up Reigns with matches versus CM Punk and Rock in the future? I almost don't want the John Cena Cody Rhodes match to be a triple threat with CM Punk, only because I think at that point it's too convoluted, and you're involving so many people in like this one storyline where you can be telling different things. I'm kind of secretly hoping for us to see a world where we do get CM Punk versus Roman Reigns, but I don't know if that's what's going to happen. I do not want to see CM Punk versus Logan Paul. I think it might happen, but I don't want to see it based off of what we saw in the Elimination Chamber. I think they may go back to Seth Rollins and CM Punk. I'm not sure. So it kind of feels like, again, it could kind of, CM Punk's story can go in so many different directions because he has a little bit to do with a lot of different people on the roster. All right, we got Seb Mini here who says, Denise, I hope heel Cena does not absolutely destroy Cody Rhodes on the mic during the road to WrestleMania 41, because Cena as a heel could really overshadow babyface Rhodes, because if face Cena would destroy people on the mic, just imagine how he will cook as a heel. Yes, this was something that I also mentioned in my review, that I kind of fear that people might turn on Cody if John Cena does overshadow him, but we'll see what happens. We got Lay Royalty here who says, hear me out. It makes sense. The Rock was the first wrestler who truly successfully transitioned from a wrestler to actor. Batista was next, and in my opinion, the greatest, and now Cena. They all followed The Rock's blueprint, and The Rock and Batista made it legit, which has a lot of Hollywood casters look at wrestlers as viable actors. To sum it up, this Illuminati faction is amazing, especially if they manage to get a Batista cameo. And then, in my opinion, Travis Scott added to that term because he is in the Hollywood circle. More enticing offer to join. Maybe Drew is the third man. I've been saying this for 2 weeks. Cody refuses his offer and Drew McIntyre becomes The Rock's champion. Well, now we're seeing that that Cena is going to become The Rock's champion, but I do see a world where Drew McIntyre could also be that person, especially because he's so angry. But I also see Drew McIntyre as the person who like calls people out on their bullshit. And I think he would also call out The Rock on his bullshit. But my favorite thing about this is that you called it an Illuminati faction. I'm dead. That's pretty hilarious. All right, and last one we got here from GTES481 who says, what if Cena in his first appearance after this just say, fuck off, I'm not retiring this year, maybe a work WrestleMania 42 and retire sometime after? No, I don't think this should happen, only because I kind of find it annoying when people say they're going to retire and then we have this big hoorah and then they don't retire. You don't want to do that. You do not want to do that. I feel like if you say you're going to retire, say it, and if you say it, just do it, and that's it. We'll all come to terms with it. I don't like the idea of making people think something's going to happen and then it not happening, because then no one's ever going to believe you after that. And I'm pretty sure you guys can think of some examples of people who have done this in the past. So with that being said, guys, that was a lot of your guys' reactions on Elimination Chamber. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know in the comment section below, and maybe I will do more videos like this, depending on whether or not you guys enjoy these. And also feel free to check out my Elimination Chamber review that is up here on the channel. It's doing very, very well. So thank you so much to everybody who is checking that out. And thank you to a lot of the new subscribers here. I do post a lot of wrestling content pretty much every single day. You see something new on here, whether it's podcasts, videos, shorts, or a little bit of everything. So thank you so much for being here. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I will catch you on the next one. Also, if this is your first time watching this video, do not forget to subscribe. Bye, everyone.